Hi, my name is Francis Christie. I am a professional chartered coach, and this is the success story of Gary Woodman about his rise from general manager to chief executive with support from coaching. Right, hello Gary.
Hello,
Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
I'm Gary Woodman. I'm Chief Executive of the Worcestershire Local Enterprise Partnership.
And I think when you joined the organisation, you came in as general manager, is that right?
Yes, so came in right at the start when had very little resources, so it has been about build the team, build the partnership.
So has it been an interesting journey?
Oh yes, some real highs, some huge challenges, but exciting as we've gone along.
And what have been some of the challenges that you've dealt with?
Bringing in that partnership together, getting people to work together from different backgrounds, private sector, public sector, government's demands and changes its mind and does all those kind of things that governments do. But really the challenge has been to build the team and reflect on how I need to operate as a leader.
Okay. So how big was the organisation when you started?
Literally we were 2 people.
Wow.
So really a blank sheet of paper and a blank sheet of paper with the team. So it really has been how do we pick this up and make sure that it's a success.
So what attracted you to this particular job?
I think the ability to create something, the ability to actually lead and drive change to a place is something that's really exciting. Actually the opportunity that Worcestershire presents, because it's just a fantastic place, but from an environmental point of view, from a place to visit, from its history and its culture, but from its economy actually it underperforms, and the opportunity was significant.
So it sounds as if you were successful as a general manager.
Yeah.
So what was it that made you think about engaging a coach?
I think we know that governments change their mind, and the opportunity is there for a period of time, and therefore I originally thought about using a coach in terms of what the skills that I need to develop and change as the partnership grew, from 1 or 2 individuals to a small team to actually leading a significant piece of work. But also I needed to use this opportunity to look after my career and myself, in the sense of what are the skills that I need to develop to actually take the next opportunity that comes along in my career.
Okay. So in terms of looking for a coach, what were the 1 or 2 key things that you were looking for?
Clearly someone who could understand that dynamic of what I was trying to achieve, somebody who could listen, understand, but also challenge back and make me kind of reflect and think on some of the things. So taking those situations that you go, well, this is how I handled it, and go, well, why did you do that? Sometimes is really useful, because as chief executive of an organisation that was growing at 20% in terms of staff numbers and government money, you are very much up there on your own, making decisions, going different ways, and just having somebody bounce that off and say, well, actually, from not just a performance point of view and are we delivering the strategy, but actually from a personal point of view, finding somebody who you could just have those conversations with was really important.
So it's an obvious question, but why did you choose me?
I think from your side, when we first met and we had the conversation, it was very much that willingness, also the style of getting me to open up, which I have a style that sometimes shields people away, so getting me to open up, getting me to think about, and then starting just to work through a process which I could see the changes and the differences that was making. I think that sort of initial period was very much initial first impressions, yes, but equally as we started to work together, I think I could nearly feel and see the changes in me as an individual.
No, great. So what has been your experience so far?
I suppose it sounds strange, but most importantly, it's been fun, which most people wouldn't think. But you need to have that base of actually enjoying the personal relationship, but also those changes that it makes to you're prepared to put in as an individual, but then also sharing some of those wins and sharing some of the lows. So I've just enjoyed it thoroughly, and I think I've definitely grown as a person. Sometimes I use the analogy that the challenge at work sometimes goes up a bit like a high jump bar, and effectively the coaching has helped me clear the bar every time. So just when I think, actually I'm not sure I could do this, that confidence just to lift the bar a bit higher and clear it first attempt is something that I've really enjoyed.
Yes, you're an unusual high jumper, Gary.
The shortest high jumper, but I can still, I think, curve and easy do 2 metres.
Good. So if there's one thing that you would really point to and say it was worth it, what would that be?
I think I know myself now far more, but also the willingness to try new things and perhaps reflect on where I approach things, which means actually I now plan better as a chief executive. I'm more prepared. Where you always think, I'm the leader, I'm in charge, I can make this up as I go. But actually, you need a plan. You don't just need a plan for the business or the partnership, but you need a plan for yourself as well about how you're going to meet the challenges, get people on board, inspire them, and really lead the way.
So in planning your coaching program, we've used a leadership model. Do you remember that model?
Yep.
And you chose to start with knowing more about yourself and building up your self-confidence. So we've gone into an emotional intelligence model, which is helpful to you.
Very helpful.
What did that do for you?
I think it made me realise certain things about me and the style that I manage. Also taking in sort of feedback from others meant that I perhaps looked at things through a slightly different way in terms of people start to view me as one thing, whereas perhaps I didn't think I was good at that, and vice versa. So it really just makes you then think a bit more about how you plan, how you prepare, and perhaps how you deliver certain messages into the organisation.
I think for me as well, it was about you occupying the space in the job. Is that something you can relate to?
Yeah, that's definitely something I can relate to. Giving senior people around me confidence that I could do the job, deliver, and set out a plan that then people could buy into and see their role and believe in made a big difference. But that challenge can be done organisationally, but I think then as a person you also need to give confidence to your peers.
And what about how you organised yourself to achieve the goals that you had?
Yeah, what I definitely realised is that I needed to set the scene and shape meetings and certain discussions, but actually I then needed the input of others to actually take that initial shaping and actually then challenge and mould the story, bring in what are the real actions, what are the activities, and then as the chief executive I then needed to take control of some of those situations to conclude and show that actually that we were all on the same page, clear understanding of where we were going and bringing that forward. So just changing my approach sometimes actually backing out of discussions and listening enabled me to operate in a very different way, instead of having to lead the charge all the time. And the usual thing is the leader is the person out for a walk if they've got no followers. You know, sometimes wouldn't check that actually everyone was with me. So just changing style, different ways of operating meant that I could be seen far more in that leadership role and occupying that space as the chief executive.
So each time we've presented with a challenge, you've jumped that challenge. What's the challenge in front of you now, Gary?
The challenge in front of me now is really about what's next. So the strategy that we've had, we've been successful in delivering a number of the projects, and it's a bit of now, well, what can we do slightly differently? Where can we learn from others and actually implement those? Take some risks, experiment without the risk of failure. So those are some of the things, and the next phase of the organisational challenge, but also me as a person in terms of being able to take that feedback in and actually challenge myself, the team, and a place like Worcestershire to go from underperforming to overperforming as an area.
So do you still need a coach, Gary?
Yes, very much so. Just having that person to nudge you, give you a push when you need it, when you think, oh, actually, I'm not sure I can do this, or encourage you to take the bar a bit higher, I think is then a sort of vital cog in actually the success of not just me as a person, but the organisation and what I deliver.
Well, you talked about yourself being an athlete. It's interesting that in athletics, you're given time to practice before you have to compete. And in the world of business, no one ever gives you time to practice. So what do you think about that?
I think that's a very good analogy around just having that time to rehearse and actually think of the different ways you can approach things, particularly if you know you're coming up to either an important meeting or an important event. Also knowing, following the athlete thing, they need to perform on the big stage at the right time, but there are times actually they just need to put in some hard work. So recognising that the pace of what you do in business can change, and being able to recognise when you've really got to be on your game in front of the crowd, but also when you just need to put your tracksuit on and go for a run.
That works very well for you, Gary.
Yes, I could do a few more runs, but it helps me in the sense of realising you can't be at it all the time, but actually you need to perform in certain points and put certain stages.
When the spotlight's on.
And when the spotlight's on.
Well done, Gary. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Hi, if you enjoyed that video, why not pick up the phone and give me a call. Let's have a chat about what you need. Thanks. Bye.